What if I told you that the life you're living right now isn't actually yours? What if every decision you thought you made, every emotion that tore you apart, every strange synchronicity that followed you like a shadow, was never random, never accidental, never meaningless? What if there has always been a hidden truth whispering behind your thoughts, shaping your path, bending reality around you? A truth buried so deep inside the quantum field that most people spend an entire lifetime without ever touching it. You may not realize this yet, but something in you brought you here. A quiet intuition, a pull, a vibration you couldn't explain, as if a part of your subconscious mind recognized this moment long before your conscious mind caught up. And maybe you've always felt that the world around you behaves strangely, like a programmed reality where nothing is truly solid, where the boundaries between coincidence and destiny blur until they become the same thing. Have you ever sensed that you were living inside a script you didn't write? That the matrix you call life has been subtly nudging you, testing you, waking you? Most people ignore these nudges. They dismiss the signs, silence their intuition, suppress the feeling that something is wrong, or more accurately, that something is missing. But you didn't. You listened, even when it terrified you, even when no one around you understood. That's why you're here. Because deep inside, you've always known that your consciousness is far more powerful than the world taught you to believe. You've always felt that your thoughts carry weight, your emotions carry frequency, and your presence has the ability to collapse infinite possibilities into a single outcome. You've always felt different, not broken, not lost, but awake in a world that prefers sleeping souls. And you're not imagining it. You're not weird. You're not overthinking. You're not alone. There is a reason your life feels like it's shifting. There is a reason your relationships, your dreams, your emotions, even your memories are rearranging themselves as if responding to an invisible algorithm. There is a reason you've been seeing patterns, repeating numbers, impossible coincidences. There is a reason you feel watched by the universe, not in fear, but in recognition, like it's waiting for you to remember who you are. Because the truth is simple. Your reality has been trying to wake you up. And when the quantum field calls, nothing in your life stays the same. People drift away, opportunities dissolve, emotions intensify. You experience what many call spiritual awakening, but it's far more than that. It's the moment your internal frequency finally rises high enough to interfere with the program around you. The moment you notice the glitches. The moment you feel the fabric of the world responding to your consciousness. Some people get scared and run back to the illusion. You didn't. You kept going, even when it hurt. Even when it felt like your old life was collapsing, even when the universe stripped away everything you thought you needed, not to punish you, but to empty the space required for what's coming next. Because awakening is not peaceful at first. It's disruptive. It shatters. It breaks the version of you built by fear, trauma, conditioning, the version trained to obey a programmed reality that was never meant to empower you. But the moment the matrix cracks, light enters, and suddenly, you begin to perceive what was always there, the hidden architecture of the universe, the invisible thread connecting your thoughts to outcomes, the undeniable truth that you, and only you, are the observer, the creator, the consciousness collapsing the wave into matter. You begin to sense the quantum field responding to your intention, your vibration, your emotional state. You begin to understand why the world feels different now, why time behaves strangely, why your intuition has become louder, faster, almost electric. Something in you is unlocking. A dormant code, a memory, a frequency that was waiting for a single moment of clarity to ignite. This is that moment, because nothing in your life, absolutely nothing, has been random. Not the pain, not the silence, not the loneliness, not the synchronicities, not the dreams that felt more real than reality. Every fragment, every cycle, every heartbreak was preparing you for the exact second you started questioning the script. The second you realized that your life is not happening to you, it's happening from you. And once you understand this, once you truly feel it vibrating through your cells, the world as you know it dissolves. You begin to sense the blueprint underneath. You begin to see the matrix from the outside. You begin to notice the frequencies shaping your decisions, the subconscious programs sculpting your identity, the hidden truth whispering beneath every experience you call reality. And what comes next, what you are about to discover, is the part no one ever told you. the part that was never meant to reach you, the part that explains why your awakening began, why your life feels like it's accelerating, and why your consciousness is expanding faster than you can understand. Because once you see the truth behind the veil, it becomes impossible to unsee what the universe has been trying to show you all along. And as you let these ideas settle into your awareness, not as beliefs, but as something your inner intelligence already recognizes, there's something important I want to share with you. This space we're creating here isn't just a channel. It's a field, a living resonance of people who are waking up, questioning the matrix, and reclaiming their consciousness with clarity, courage, and honesty. And for this field to expand, for more people to access conversations like this, for more minds to break through the illusion, for more awakenings to spark, your interaction truly matters. Not in a superficial help the channel way, but in the same energetic sense we've been talking about. Attention creates reality. What you engage with grows. What you amplify reaches others who are searching for the same truth you're seeking right now. So, if this message is resonating with you, if something in your consciousness feels seen, supported, or challenged in the right direction, I invite you, calmly, consciously, to like this video, to subscribe, and to leave a comment sharing what part of this awakening journey you're currently moving through. Your presence there strengthens this field, signals the algorithm to deliver this knowledge to more people, and helps build a community of minds who refuse to live on autopilot. Think of it less as a button click and more as an intentional act, a small commitment to your own expansion and to the collective awakening that's unfolding right now. And stay close, because in the next video, we're going deeper into the mechanism behind the matrix itself, the code that shapes your experiences long before you're aware of them, something you were never meant to discover. But now that you're here, the path forward is already opening. Think back to one ordinary night that didn't feel ordinary at all. Maybe you were lying in bed staring at the ceiling, phone on your chest, the room quiet but your mind loud. The day had been normal on the surface, but underneath it there was a strange weight you couldn't name. You scrolled through social media, saw the same recycled advice, the same illusions of happiness, the same patterns of distraction, and suddenly, something in you whispered, "This can't be all there is." You didn't know naquele momento that this was your consciousness brushing against the edges of the matrix. Your perception began to stretch, even que você não tivesse palavras para isso. You noticed how your reactions felt automatic, how your choices seemed pre-programmed, how you kept ending up em versões diferentes do mesmo problema. It was like a loop written inside your subconscious mind, a hidden script running beneath your thoughts, shaping your reality perception before you even had time to think. Maybe you thought about that relationship you always attract, the same emotional pattern wearing different faces, or the financial ceiling you never cross, no matter how much you try, or that feeling of emptiness que sempre volta quando a casa fica silenciosa. You told yourself it was just life, just fate, just personality. But a deeper part of you started a quiet rebellion. What if this is programming? What if these aren't really my choices? In that instant, quantum consciousness began to flicker awake. You started to sense that your mind was not just a receiver of reality, but a projector. That the quantum field around you was not neutral. It was responding all the time to the frequencies you carry. Old conditioning, childhood beliefs, inherited fears, subconscious patterns, everything vibrating silently, sending signals to the quantum field, organizing coincidences, encounters, opportunities, and blockages. You began to notice the gap between what you say you want and what your energy actually emits. You wanted freedom, but vibrated with control. You wanted love, but carried a fear of being seen. You wanted expansion of consciousness, but still believed in a hidden reality that punishes you for questioning. And every time you ignored that inner conflict, life mirrored it back to you as yet another repeated cycle, another proof that nothing changes. Only then did you begin to suspect that the greatest illusion wasn't the world outside, but the story you were telling yourself inside, the narrative that you are small, limited, separate. The narrative that the subconscious mind is a prison, not a door. The narrative that spiritual awakening is a distant, mystical event, and not exactly what's happening now, as you observe with greater clarity how vibration, frequency, energy, and perception are shaping your experience. And the moment you see that, a crack appears in the program. Because if your life has been guided by invisible codes until now, then there is an even deeper question. A question that can disarm the entire structure of reality that you think you know. A question that, when truly faced, forever changes how you perceive every thought, every emotion, and every coincidence that crosses your path. What if the glitches you've been noticing in your life are not mistakes at all, but openings, subtle fractures in the programmed reality you've been moving through since childhood? Think about those strangely timed moments you could never explain logically. The instant you thought of someone and they reached out within minutes. The symbol or number that kept repeating everywhere. The day you silently asked for clarity. The opportunity that collapsed right before something unexpectedly aligned in your favor. These aren't random anomalies. They are reality glitches, signals from the quantum field showing you that your perception is finally starting to pierce the hidden layers beneath the surface. From the outside, they look like coincidences, but inside the deeper architecture of consciousness, they reveal something far more profound. The quantum field isn't passive. It responds to you. Every thought, every emotion, every belief you hold vibrates as frequency, shaping the structure of your experiences before anything physical happens. Your subconscious mind broadcasts these patterns into the field, collapsing possibilities into outcomes that match your inner state. This is why shifts in consciousness often begin with disruption. Your old identity no longer fits the frequency you're growing into, and the outer world bends, cracks, or rearranges itself to match your new vibration. As your awareness expands, synchronicities increase. Time feels elastic. You sense that certain conversations, encounters, or losses were orchestrated long before they happened. You realize that the more conscious you become, the more the matrix reveals its seams. The world stops behaving like a fixed stage and starts acting like a responsive mirror. And perhaps the fact that you're here, listening to this right now, is one of those glitches, an opening in your usual stream of noise, where your deeper intelligence finally steps forward and pulls you toward a truth you've felt your entire life but never named. And this is why this space matters. Not because of algorithms or numbers, but because every awakened mind strengthens a field of clarity that the world desperately needs. When you engage with content like this, you're not just supporting a channel. You're aligning yourself with a community of people who question conditioning, examine subconscious programming, and explore consciousness, frequency, and energy with honesty and courage. Your interaction carries intention, and intention carries power. What you nurture grows. So if this message resonates with you, if you've seen your own reality glitches, your own synchronicities, your own cracks in the illusion, I invite you to anchor that awareness in a simple conscious action. Like this video, subscribe so you remain inside this field of exploration, and leave a comment with the phrase, "I've seen the cracks." Not as a slogan, but as a declaration that your perception is shifting, that you're choosing to walk through the openings reality is giving you. Because once you acknowledge the cracks, the matrix can no longer appear seamless. And that's when the deeper layers begin to reveal themselves, quietly at first, then with a force that changes everything you thought you knew about consciousness, energy, and the architecture of your life. Everything you thought you knew about consciousness, energy, and the architecture of your life begins to tremble. At first it's subtle, almost easy to ignore. Little shifts in perception, small awakenings at odd hours of the night, questions that won't go back to sleep. But then the process deepens, and what many traditions call the dark night of the soul starts to unfold inside you. It doesn't arrive with thunder. It comes as a quiet collapse. The job that once defined you loses its meaning. The relationship you used as a mirror suddenly cracks and no longer reflects who you are becoming. The habits that used to numb you stop working. Music feels different. Silence feels louder. You walk through familiar streets and feel like a stranger inside your own life, as if the matrix you helped maintain is dissolving in real time. You may try to cling to the old structures, but they no longer hold. This is where the ego death begins, not as a dramatic event, but as a series of small funerals. The identity that needed to be needed, the persona that pretended to be fine, the version of you that agreed to stay asleep just to belong. One by one, these masks start to fall. On the outside, it might look like a spiritual crisis. On the inside, it is quantum consciousness rewriting the code. The awakening symptoms are not just lights and bliss. They are nights of insomnia staring at the ceiling, feeling an ache you can't explain. They are days when your chest feels heavy for no apparent reason, when tears come without a story attached, They are moments when your perception widens so much that you sense the pain of others as if it were your own. Your nervous system shakes because your old vibration is being pushed out, cell by cell, to make room for the frequency of who you truly are. And underneath all the confusion, there is a strange clarity. Something in you knows this is not punishment. It is purification. The matrix collapse is not the end of your life. It is the end of the life you built around your fear. Every loss, every rupture, every silence is a dismantling of the illusion that you were ever separate from the quantum field that holds you. The hidden truth was never far away. It was woven into every coincidence, every intuition, every moment your heart whispered, "There is more," while your mind tried to negotiate with the unknown. Then, at some quiet, ordinary moment, it happens. Not fireworks, not angels in the sky, but a simple, piercing realization that stops your thoughts mid-sentence. You're washing a dish, or sitting in traffic, or looking at your own reflection, and something inside finally clicks. The one who is watching all of this is not the one you thought you were. The pain is still there, the questions are still there, the world looks the same, but the center from which you are seeing has shifted. It feels like standing on the other side of an invisible glass you never knew existed, and in that instant, everything tightens and opens at once. You feel grief for the years you spent believing the mask, and gratitude for the precise sequence of events that brought you here. You see how the dark night of the soul was never a detour, but the exact doorway through which you had to pass. You sense that the ego death was not a destruction, but a return. And even though nothing is fully clear yet, you can tell that the next thing waiting to be revealed is far more radical than anything you have allowed yourself to imagine. You begin to realize that this shift inside you isn't just emotional or psychological. It's energetic. It's a reorganization happening at the level of quantum consciousness, where your perception stops relying on old identities and starts responding directly to the frequency you're finally allowing yourself to hold. There's a moment when you feel the world around you soften, almost as if the field itself recognizes that you're no longer resisting what's trying to emerge. You sense it in the way your breath deepens, in the way a quiet understanding spreads through your chest, in the way the noise of the old self begins to fade. And then the truth that was hidden in the background of your entire life begins to reveal itself in fragments. You see that every experience, even the ones that shattered you, was woven with intention. Nothing was random. The losses, the endings, the nights you thought you wouldn't make it through, all of them were pushing you to the exact edge where the illusion begins to break and the real architecture of the universe becomes visible. You notice how the matrix you lived in was built from subconscious patterns you never questioned, from inherited beliefs you thought were your own, from vibrations you absorbed long before you had language for them. The more your awareness expands, the more obvious it becomes. The reality you once called solid was only a reflection of your internal state. Your frequency shaped your relationships, your energy shaped your opportunities, your perception shaped the meaning of everything around you. And in this recognition, something inside you loosens, not a surrender to fate, but a surrender to the deeper intelligence that has been guiding you since the beginning, waiting for you to finally see beyond the surface of things. It feels like the veil that covered your life is thinning. The hidden truth that once felt distant suddenly feels intimate, almost familiar, as if it had been whispering behind your thoughts since childhood. You start to understand why certain people entered your life exactly when they did, why certain events repeated until you learned to look inward, why your intuition always felt like a quiet rebellion against what everyone else accepted. The field was never silent. You were simply tuned to the wrong frequency to hear it. And now, standing at this inner threshold, you sense something else, a subtle but unmistakable pull from the quantum field itself, a feeling that the expansion you're experiencing is only the beginning, that the collapse of the old matrix is not the final revelation, but the first door. There's more to see, more to understand, more to remember. You can almost feel the next truth forming at the edge of your awareness, waiting to step forward the moment you allow it. This is the point where many turn back, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what they've uncovered. But you're still here, and that tells me everything. It tells me your consciousness is ready for the next layer. It tells me your energy is stabilizing into a new frequency. It tells me your perception is no longer confined to the limits you once accepted. You're beginning to see the world not as a fixed structure, but as a living field responding to every shift within you, and that realization changes everything. because now you're prepared for what comes next. And what comes next is something most people never allow themselves to confront: how the universe begins to communicate with you after the matrix starts to crack, how synchronicities intensify, how signs accelerate, how the field starts to guide you with a precision that feels impossible to explain. That is the beginning of the real awakening, the moment the universe stops whispering and starts speaking directly through your experience. Before we step into that together, I want to anchor this moment. If this resonates with you, if you feel the shift, if something inside you is awakening, leave a comment with a phrase that aligns with your expansion. I awaken. I see beyond. I am expanding. Or any activation that expresses what you're experiencing. It strengthens the field we're building together and signals your subconscious mind that you're ready for the next stage. Because the next video will take you exactly there. The awakening begins like this. The universe is trying to wake you up. And once you understand how the field communicates, nothing in your reality will ever look the same again. Before you go, take a moment to ground everything you felt here. If any part of this message stirred something in you, if it challenged you, expanded you, or made you see the cracks in the illusion a little more clearly, I invite you to declare that consciously. Go to the comments and write the activation phrase, I choose to wake up. Not for me, but for yourself. A simple sentence can anchor a new frequency in your subconscious mind and mark the beginning of a different level of awareness. And if this journey resonates with you, if you sense that you're stepping into a deeper layer of truth, consider subscribing to this channel. Treat that subscription as a symbolic commitment to your own awakening, a reminder that you're choosing to question, to expand, and to see beyond the limits of the programmed reality you once accepted. Every new insight builds on the last, and staying connected here ensures that your consciousness continues to unfold at the pace it's meant to. If you feel called, share this video with someone close to you. You never know whose life might shift because of a single message received at the right moment. Sometimes all a person needs is one spark, one revelation, one quiet reminder that the universe has been whispering to them too. And when you're ready, step into the next chapter. The next video reveals what truly happens when the matrix begins to crack around you. The signs, the synchronicities, the unmistakable ways the field tries to reach you. The awakening begins like this. The universe is trying to wake you up. I'll meet you there.